Oh, the sun's kind of went down, but now it's humid. Bad art really isn't about stylization. It's more of a mindset, you know, and you can see it. And that guy, you know, the dude who said all those numbers about me, about making paintings and having them sell like the dogs playing pool in bars, you know, and believe me, I've always thought about that. As being kind of a kitchenmeister. There was another term for that. And I remember, it dawned on me, I was like sitting there, I went to the dentist about 2 months ago, and I told him I was just paying in cash, and I told him I was an artist, and this is kind of a conservative dentist area. And I have a feeling they went and Googled me right off the bat. And then the dentist came in and started asking me his questions about what kind of art I make. And I told him I'm a contemporary artist, and he probably thought I did paintings of ducks or landscapes and people portraits or something. I don't, you know, who knows. And so the guy asked me his questions. Well, you know, what do you mean contemporary art? And I said, he started kidding with me. He said, you don't make paintings like the dogs with playing the pool, do you? And I said, fuck, I might as well. I mean, you know, what the hell? You know, I'm making paintings of monkeys. What the hell? You know, what's the difference? You know, at least there's some kind of practicality to it. People look at it, but I don't know. But the thing I brought up with about Red, bringing up the whole stylization or the bad painting deal. And I remember I went to Dallas here about a couple of days ago for that. Went to a reception for this art show. My buddies got into. We're walking around and went to this one gallery called Craighead Green. It's over in the downtown area, right off of Dragon Street. And you know, to me, it's like there was this one painting there. I swear to God, was a total duplicate of Cy Twombly. I don't know if you know, if anyone knows who Cy Twombly is, but so here in Texas, there's a building over in Houston called the Menil Collection, and they have a lot of, you know, really nice old surrealistic paintings, you know, from a whole range of different types of artists. There's even a Francis Bacon there. It's just neat, sort of, you know. But that's when you grow up in that area, you see this stuff. You kind of go there and you go, well, this is what, you know, powerful art is. And there's this one building, the Cy Twombly building. It's an awesome building, but the artwork in there, you know, it's just this scratchy, scribbly type stuff, very abstract, expressionistic kind of stuff, but it's influenced a shitload of artists and all the interior designers, all the architects type people who buy, corporate art buyers. You know, they could throw down $5,000 for a Cy Twombly knockoff because it'll fit some, you know, lobby that they've designed. You know, it's just sort of obnoxious. You know, so you have artists out there who are literally kind of like copying elements or stylistic elements of Cy Twombly's work. And I'm sitting in a Craighead Green and looking at this painting, going, "Where in the fuck? How can you make this and just not think that people just don't know that you're actually stylistically copying this sort of painting style?" You know, it's just, to me, beyond me. It's like, why? I would rather just meander down my own sort of, you know, anytime I think I get any idea, I think I'm copying somebody stylistically, I just sort of have to I just sort of naturally want to deviate away from it. You know, making paintings of monkeys, I know it's not totally terribly original, but same point, you know, they will be done in a setting or a paint style that I don't really see anybody doing it, and I generally like, it's like you claim your own little territory, fence it out. Especially if you can claim a regional. Alright, enough of that. So here I was, back in San Marcos, drinking Milwaukee's Best, back in '93, I believe. Making paintings in my little apartment before I was really ever an art major. Had this vinyl green leather jacket I used to wear around. This is why I used to have hair, actually. So I went on the, this is, I guess, a painting history from about 92 to about 94. This is sort of the climax of all the porn party scenarios. You know, each painting sort of was part of this dark, seedy nightlife of running around this town and hanging out and seeing things and making these sort of drunken, pseudo-esque abstractions of these abstractions. They're like moral, I guess they're like these moral codes dealing with the femme fatale, bad sex, being screwed over, I guess. I guess that's what you're like if you're in if you're gonna be a virgin or something, and you just don't, you know, you always predict the worst in things, you know. That was a good one. That was one of the major. This actually was a party painting. I tried getting these party pictures, you know. This one was the devil eavesdropping on the Last Supper. I always thought that was a pretty good idea. I had these series of these watercolors of like women just going to parties and all the dramas, interactions and stuff. Okay, this series is a part of this show I had at Alvin. It's called The Triumphant Return. And they were like, because Bacon died in '93, and so I wanted to make this homage to Francis Bacon. And it was just very kind of gory and fleshy and didn't make much sense. They're all sort of based on photo. That was my homage to Bacon right there. You know, that's when he died, and there was kind of the most direct Bacon-esque type painting. That was my Bacon phase. That's where I kind of got back into this sort of wavy, fleshy. The thing is, yeah, I had all these photographs of women, and so I would just sit there and try to duplicate them. That was my objective. This is before I even got into the art department, you know. And so, to me, that was the my ideal existence, was to making this kind of crazy-ass distortion, you know. And some of them were, you know, pretty good. And, you know, like that one I thought was pretty good. Where the hell that one went to? I don't know. I think it's in the walls of my studio. That one there has been blown off the... That's a lady there. And there's my old apartment. I think there was like these more of these kind of abstract figure. That was the ultimate party painting right there. That one I think is destroyed. That one, another, I don't know what happened to that one. An old lady riding a man. Yeah, I think I traded that to some mechanic. Another party painting. And then we go, okay, this one right here. This was the end of the party painting zone. When I made this painting of headless lesbians rolling around this abstraction, grabbing their breasts, and you know, it was based on a photo, of course. And so I was like, what's the meaning of this? This doesn't even have any more meaning anymore. It's just painting, you know. So, so with that, I kind of like ended the whole deal. You know, I kind of like said, I'm gonna go into more of this. So they're more. I guess what it was that I was trying to figure out. Well, what is horror? You know, this kind of stuff was just very gregarious, you know, and I kind of thought, you know, it's better to paint small things in big ways than big things in small ways. And these kind of like religious themes, and so yeah, to me it just seems so overkill, stuff like that there, you know. That one I think got destroyed. Let me think, what else is there? And then it got to this painting right here. This was another. See, in '93 the Waco standoff happened. So this is my, I guess, homage to the, or depiction of the Waco standoff. You know, guns pointed, the guy who's looking up at the cross, and another guy who had conquered the cross, and his hair was on fire. The whole house, the whole place had burned down. You know, that painting is actually around here somewhere. I think it's rolled up in my studio. But then I sort of started doing these kind of like recessing the porn into the night. And letting sort of the dark greens and blues of the night, you know, pierce out these like blurry, fleshy tones. I guess back in that time, I guess like '93, '94, I was smoking weed and walking around and just sort of realized that the night was far more powerful than anything pornographic you can come up with. That was more like reality. It's just dealing with reality here. Now this chair here, this is kind of funny. I think it's sold somewhere, but that chair is the chair that's out there I'm working on for that freaking art show. You know, I saved it. That was Derek's old chair. And then I got into this another kitchen. I lived in this place called 715 Rogers House. It was this dilapidated old house. Rent was like $200. So I started doing these paintings of that place, and then I eventually ended up living there in '96, I believe. There's a whole photo montage of that. Okay, well, this painting here, this is The Leaping Darkness. This is my H.P. Lovecraft-inspired horror in the night. You know, and I guess when you smoke weed, this is what happens. And